Hello and welcome back to Squid Junction 39. I'm Asek, joined here by Imad, and we're headed into this next set here. Sanctuary versus Bet. Imad, what do you think of this matchup?
I think we're going to be seeing some exciting games. It looks like we're going to be starting off on the zones. Inkblot, a good old Platoon 2 regular. I'm excited to see some of the new weapons on this map. I know Try has been used quite frequently, and that was especially strong. I remember watching it quite a bit, and when it was the meta pick back in Splatoon 2, so seeing it back on Inkblot is certainly a sight to behold.
Yes, indeed. I'm really glad Tri-Slasher has a good kit for itself. I think it really bullies short-range shooters, especially using that tactical where it can completely just go in there and feed and just it can WM1, but it can also counter WM1. So I do think it's just very strong. I think it's a decent kit, solid weapon now. I think it's a good redemption for the weapon. I think it's a fairly good main weapon. But we are headed into zones, Inkblot Art Academy, somehow not infested by Big Run, because we're in magical PB land where Big Run isn't real.
Yeah, so we're going to have to keep an eye out for any stray salmon. We basically caught them in between waves. You know, they're taking their lunch right now.
Yeah, just enough time for one game.
And then we're back on the grind. But it is curious to see that they did remove that big old obstacle in the middle for salmon run. But perhaps because that's where the basket is. But that is, I'm getting off track there.
Yeah. It would have been very strange to fight on low tide or even high tide with that. Or no, mid tide. Being able to just hop onto that island. That would be very strange. But we are going to head into this next game very, very soon here.
Tri-Strike, I haven't seen too many other Tri-Strike, but the fact that it can shoot multiple of the projectiles now, like Booyah Bomb, it was a little bit weak because of the giant thing in the middle of the zone, but because of the Tri-Strike has multiple Tri-Strikes, it can pretty much cap zone on its own as always.
Yes, indeed. Very interesting thing on this map. We're going to have to see. It does look like we do have a C-Jet. That is a very strange pick. I'm interested to see what they're going to come up with for this weapon. I didn't think this kit was very good, but clearly Bet thinks otherwise. And they are rocking with double splash as well as a Splatana. And you see Sanctuary running ZF as well with a T-Tech and a Machine with a splash, of course, as always. So we're going to have to see if double Crab Tank works out for them.
It is going to be interesting. We do that double Tri-Strike versus a double Crab Tank. And we see the Booyah Bomb coming out and just trying to take down the Crab. And they do indeed. Double Splash is down, leaving Sanctuary with the zone and able to push up, taking another pick along the way.
Yeah, and here I think we're going to see that ZF Charger trying to take some really greedy angles, using that splash wall potentially. And it does look like they do that because they did get taken out. That is the kind of risk-reward of doing those aggressive plays. It does look like Sanctuary has staggered a decent amount, but there is actually somebody behind them at this point in time. But Bet is also counter-sharking on them. Gonna get that pick on the ZF Charger as they're throwing their Tri-Strikes, but that Machine is going to be able to take them out.
Left vulnerable because of the Tri-Strike, they are going to be taken down, and Bet already getting to the 50 mark with several other specials being charged up. And now we see the Booyah Bomb and Tri-Strike combo coming out, hoping to take that zone back, but they're painting rather well with the Zipcaster just trying to distract the team. Well, trying to anyway. They were able to keep the zone even through all that ink fire.
And here we're seeing another Tri-Strike coming out from Sanctuary, their second one with the T-Tech. And they are going to be able to use that to force cap on this zone. Not before their splash does go down, as well as their Machine, as well as their T-Tech. It's just the ZF Charger, and their Splatana is going to try to bully them as much as they can. Those burst rounds coming out are really going to pressure that Charger into peaking, and they are going to go down here. And here we're seeing the C-Jet managing to take a fairly forwards position here. Definitely one of the more aggressive backlines in the game at the moment. And they're going to be able to use their Toxic Mist to try and stall out that choke point here.
And comboing with the range is going to create a lasting effect, just flowing down Sanctuary. Tri-Strike coming out, but the paint coming out from Bet is going to stall it for the time being, but they lose two of their splashes in the process. So the second Tri-Strike is going to be able to... Oh no, this Jet Squelcher is doing a fantastic job until they meet that Charger.
Ooh, the CF Charger has Haunt equipped. That's very, very interesting. Charger with Haunt is always a strange one since you're not going to be dying a whole lot. And oftentimes Respawn Punisher will just get more value in terms of time. But then again, if you are playing that aggressively with ZF, it's feasible that you are going to die. So they might be cooking with that. But it is just the Splash-O-Matic left alive trying to stall out here as the entire team of Bet rushes their Crab Tank. They are going to be forced to go down here. Another Crab Tank coming out from Bet is going to force this machine back, as well as the Inkstorm is going to make taking space a whole lot easier for their team.
You know, we talked about the Tri being extremely strong on this map. We haven't talked about the the Stamper here. Not only with its Zipcast to be able to get into places it shouldn't, but just the fact that it can camp ledges like nobody's business. Already stalling out that time or keeping Sanctuary away from the zone. They are able to come back in time to cap before the KO, but 7 points is a long way to go.
Yeah, they're going to have to hold it for a really long time, and this Stamper is really making this Charger sweat here. But you can see that their team is trying to help with bombs, and this Sniper does actually manage to get taken out by Sanctuary, which is very, very good for them. That Sniper being taken out is going to be very good for reducing their long-range pressure, as well as that Jet going down. They aren't going to... Bet isn't going to have a lot to try and contest the long range here. The Crab Tank is going to come out, though, which is what they're going to try to use here. But it's not going to get a whole lot of value. And it is going to end up ending before really getting any picks.
Sanctuary was pretty spread out there, just not grouped up enough for the crowd to really make something of it, and with the Booyah Bomb coming out, that's just going to put a lot of pressure on their plat, but they're going to respond with that Zipcaster, and hopefully get some more paint on that zone, but they are dangerously close, and they are able to cap it in time, and with 2 members down in the last 30 seconds, that's probably the movement they want right now.
Yeah, this is going to be very, very good for them. They have turned that situation completely on its head. Now they are the ones absolutely pressuring Sanctuary, and they need to cap this zone very, very quickly. They only have about 10 seconds left on the clock, but that Sniper going down could be exactly what they need. The Jet's going down as well. Tri-Check's coming out, and it does look like that is going to be able to force zone cap for them, unless Bet can pull out an absolute miracle here, which it looks like they might be able to! Sanctuary wasn't able to cap that zone. They managed to barely hold on to that paint.
They had a splash underneath the ledge, a splash in the zone, and between the two of them, they were able to not only keep enough paint on zone to keep it stalled, but then they were able to pincer that member that went into zone to paint in, so they were able to keep that and able to take this first victory.
Very, very well played by Sanctuary, or by Bet there. So we're gonna have to see how Sanctuary responds to that. I do think seeing the C-Jet winning that is very interesting. They did definitely have a plan with that. The Inkstorm was really good at forcing them into plat. I'm really curious to see if they pick it up again, or if that was just a specific map mode pick.
Having the double trash strike, like, it is an extremely strong weapon, but it's a sprint based strategy versus having the C-Jet between the rain and toxic mist. They were going for the marathon, the long term. Like, even as they were throwing out trash strikes, that C-Jet was just painting the zone with his main weapon. I think that was like just the tipping factor they needed to come out on top here. Between the Devil Splash and the C-Jet, they just had a little bit more paint overall.
Yeah, I think that the paint from the C-Jet is probably its strongest aspect. It's a weird kind of support backline like mix. Oh, it does look like we have actually gotten the map wrong. It is going to be Tower Control Undertow. Instead, that is slightly a slight error there, but I do think TC Undertow is going to be fairly interesting as well. This isn't one of the maps that got changes, but then again, we already saw Rainmaker Eeltail last set.
Indeed, it'd be quite strange to see 2 modes of the same twice in a row. But yes, Spillway on Tower Control, that is definitely one that they're going to have to be worried about getting snowballed. Like, that last Zones match, it really went back and forth, so I think they're not going to have a problem of just getting overrun completely, but it is a pretty short track for that tower.
And we are headed into this next match here. We're seeing a heavy Splatling, as well as, a Squiffer. Very, very interesting weapon picks here.
Indeed, I am certainly a fan of the heavy pick right there, but it's going to be tough going up against that the Squiffer, because it has like it just deadly range is pretty much the same between the two weapons. Having just a straight line for the Squiffer is going to put the pressure on the heavy, and the Bubbler is going to certainly come in handy for tower control.
Yeah, and we're actually seeing them running V-Try, which is a very interesting pick. I think they're what they're trying to do here is they're just trying to use that as their answer to Inkjet instead of the double Tri-Strike. But I honestly think that a lot of players overvalue specials that counter Crab Tank. You really have to counter Crab Tank with your main weapons or with your strategy, because if your plan on countering Crab Tank is using your own specials, you're always going to be behind on the special economy. The enemy team is going to control when you use specials, and they're bound to get specials faster than you if they do that. So I don't think using specials to counter Crab Tank is the perfect play, but I do think it can have a nice niche if you find yourself in that situation.
It is nice to have like maybe have a special that can be optimized to go up against Crab, but it does fall short if there's not a Crab to counter. You know what I mean? Like, it definitely being able to use strategy and the combination of the main weapons as rather than relying solely on the special is certainly the way to go.
But regardless, we have seen Bet get Sanctuary 2 down. That's going to be pretty big for them, especially as that Crab Tank is coming out, getting another pick on that splash. And Bet is absolutely taking a dominant first push here. We're seeing that Tri-Slosher trying to Shark here, taking a absolutely tiny sharking space. That's going to be absolutely huge for them. Managing to pop out of seemingly nowhere to get a trade. While that is fairly good for them, that trade is going to favor the defender. It isn't going to be enough to stop the tower here, and here we see the Tri-Strike coming out as well. Going to try to pressure the tower even further.
Yes, as a bucket class weapon, it is one of the few weapons that has so much gain from fall-off damage there, just completely swooping down on that poor heavy. But unfortunately, it was not quite enough to stop the tower from moving. It is already moving back again, but the Squiffer is going to be here to finish it off. 3 members down with just the sloshing machine remaining, and that's going to keep them from getting that last checkpoint there. Still, Bet, that is a huge lead to be starting off with. Like, even though we have the 2 minutes left, they are going to be sitting pretty with their defense now.
Yes, indeed. That huge lead is going to be very good for them, so they can just play very comfortably. And they can play a little bit far back. With that being said, they have gone 3 down, which is not what you want to see. That heavy spotlight being the last one left alive. That Wavebreaker is going to come out, but it's not actually going to reach tower. That Wavebreaker is not going to get a whole lot of value, which is not very good for Bet here. That Inkjet is going to come out and is going to absolutely start demolishing people.
With the Inkjet combo as well.
Yeah, and after the Inkjet gets popped, that Crab Tank is going to come out. But, ooh, that is 3 down, 4 down on Sanctuary. A push all the way, I didn't even notice, that push was all the way down to 15. That is extremely devastating for them. Getting all the way down to 15 and getting taken out at the very last second, but it is anyone's game now. Neither team can really hold this lead comfortably.
Yeah, it was just 2 points away from that, and they also have to go through that checkpoint again. That is going to be just another buffer they're going to have to overcome, and as with Bet coming back on their front door, it is going to be more difficult.
Yes, indeed, but here we see Sanctuary absolutely doing their best to paint their base and get those specials. The Tri-Strike coming out is going to be very big for them. They're really delaying where they're throwing it, kind of doing it in the reverse of what is typically done. And I do think that does have some merits if you want to pressure one area for a long time. Throwing it all out at once, but here we see them just trying to get their way in here. They haven't really been able to get any picks, and as that Wavebreaker is going to come out, it's going to make things just a little bit awkward for them. Ooh, but that heavy is going to go down. Big Bubbler is going to come out from the Squiffer, trying to stall out Bet here, but that isn't exactly what they want to try to play for right here. Crab Tank is going to come out on both sides, going to be able to get a lot of value here. And here we see Bet is 2 down. So is Sanctuary. It's so close right now. It's really anyone's game, but Bet does have mid, so Sanctuary needs to get something done very quickly if they want to contest tower here, but it isn't looking very good for them right now.
Yeah, bet that they have that lead there, so they're playing aggressively to keep the tower off their side of the map, but they're also doing an excellent job of just trying to stay alive, because that's really what they want here, is to stay alive and build their specials to be able to counterplay whatever Sanctuary is going to throw at in this last-ditch effort here. We do see the Splash going to be testing tower, and they are going to take that back, as well as the match victory.
That is very unfortunate for them. Very, very close games. So far, like, all of these games have been so close. We had some intense moments.
Absolutely, they are getting down to the wire and just not letting any team run away with it.
Yes, indeed. But that is going to be the end of this set, so we are going to go on a short break. But don't go anywhere, because we are going to have a big announcement after Grand Finals.